And it's hilarious to see folks spin this on both sides. I mean, Hannity and Dick Morris this morning are just chugging Kool-Aid. It's like coming, spilling out onto their suits. Welcome to News Beast, post-debate edition. Many of you were with us last night till almost midnight. We were having our Daily Beast debate party. It was a good time, and it was a good debate. We got David Friedlander, who was in the field for us, talking to folks at a bar about how they really felt.
Yeah.
And Jessica Tarlov, who's written for us, works with Doug Schoen, pollster, centrist extraordinaire. What did y'all think?
Well, so last night was a real debate for the first time. This wasn't like one guy got to talking, the guy stammered. It was a clear, they were on equal footing. I mean, I think the takeaway will be Obama redeemed himself and Romney didn't do a lot of damage. And Obama, needed to just perform to that level. Romney needed to not make very many mistakes.
All right, Jessica, I had a slightly more, usually I try to be pretty even keel. I had a more exaggerated take on the debate. I thought Obama clearly won, had some incredibly strong moments, and Romney lost. And he didn't just lose by comparison to Obama. I think he hurt himself. And what I thought he hurt himself with is the constant irritating interruptions. The reappearance of hall monitor Mitt, arguing with the moderator, disrespecting the moderator, disrespecting the President of the United States. That just, I think, alienates folks. It makes them look, I mean, the words on my Twitter feed were entitled, bully. It's not just a style issue, it's a character issue, it seems to me. That's my take. So what do you?
Well, I think it was a tie to a slight advantage for Obama.
Okay.
I think Romney did really well in the first half of the debate. I think once we hit social issues, that it was all Obama. I think
How a tie? I'm just curious.
Because I think that people still don't like Obama on the economy. They still don't have a job. They still don't know what his plan is for the next 4 years or why it would be any different.
That's a big point.
And I think they asked him explicitly. He wouldn't give an answer. What's going to be different? Nothing really. I think that your point is well taken on the attacking front. I thought that
as a woman, I mean, did the role trying to steamroll a female moderator, did that do more damage?
I tend to not like to play the gender card on these things
that's a fact,
because I mean she did a great job on an equal gender basis. But it does obviously look more aggressive when someone is coming at a woman than if someone is coming at a man.
This is a different dynamic.
I think Obama was incredibly aggressive himself too. He just stood back and did it a bit more politely.
Right. I'd ask you this, John. I mean, so the first debate changed the trajectory of the campaign, right? I mean,
no question
for
about
sure.
it. No question.
Do you think this one did that? I just think like now we have two guys on equal footing.
I think it did.
I
think it did change the momentum of the trajectory of the race to the extent it changed the momentum of the race. If Mitt Romney had a strong debate, I think this would have really sealed the impression that when you see these two folks standing side by side, that Mitt Romney is more than presidential. Right? This debate was someone who was angry. He was insistent. He was constantly trying to interrupt people. Litigate the rules, and he didn't answer a lot of very specific questions on issues from women's pay to immigration. He would pivot back to his own talking points. He came across as peevish and unpresidential.
Well, both of them didn't answer questions that were directly asked.
That is
like, is that desk white or black? And they said, well, that's a very good question. Let me tell you about this
I've learned a lot about that, and I have binders full of women.
Binders full of women.
They brought us whole binders full of women.
And apparently the Boston Phoenix actually fact-checked binders full of women, and apparently it's not even true.
Right.
Yeah, that was
which is very interesting. Right. What I like about the anecdote on a second level, by the way, is that he was like, there are no women around me. I don't know any qualified women. Someone get me a binder full of them.
I think he said
gosh. Yeah, but he didn't even ask for the binder. It was given to him. Anyway,
let me ask you this. So throughout Obama's career, he has been aware of not seeming too angry, too passionate.
Right. Well,
and he's a cool customer.
That's right.
He seemed to go right up to that line. I felt like last night. And since you thought he won, clearly, I just wonder if you thought he approached that line, if he went over it, if that was a turnoff for
David,
folks.
I'll tell you, started the debate, I thought he came on too hot. He wasn't warm enough, and I thought it's a real problem. I mean, look, we all understand that the flip side of no drama Obama is that he can come across as aloof. At the outset, I think Romney was doing a much better job connecting to people in the audience, calling folks by name. But like that weird moment where Romney tried to play the rehearsed line about your pension has covered, right? And Obama kind of laughed it off and said first of all, just forget the angry, insistent, idiotic disrespect to the office and the individual. but the way the president sort of laughed it off and said, look, I don't spend a lot of time looking at my pension because it's not as big as yours.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a very, very, very effective. So I think actually at the outset, the president was coming on too hot, and I think he warmed up. And Romney began really, he was clearly well coached on how to do a town hall event. And then this impulse he's had throughout the primaries to interrupt the moderator, to interrupt other candidates that comes across as bullying, and someone who fundamentally doesn't like being questioned or having to live by rules that other people set, it came off so badly. And that to me, again, it's not just a style point issue. It's, I think, a character point.
But it's also, I mean, this was the first time that we saw Obama actually saying that's just not true.
That's
I mean,
right. Well, he
in
drew clear
Denver, he
contact.
just
That's right.
sat there and he gave that kind of professorial smirk at him. And we all knew you're thinking that isn't true, but he wouldn't just say that isn't true except on the $5 trillion.
And this time he did. And I don't, you know, there's a funny thing. If someone's getting in your face, what's the right way to
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
to handle it, right? You can't just completely cede the field. But he did, and he threw out 47% at the very end, which I thought was
Got
very
it in
funny.
2 minutes
That
to
was
go.
brilliant.
Yeah.
That
Right?
was like wait until the very end when Romney can't have any kind of rejoinder. That was very brilliant.
that was very, very smart.
Yeah.
But look, I think it was a strong debate. It was a substantive debate, and I'm actually sorry that there was all that really unnecessary kind of jockeying and jousting, because I think Romney would have had a much stronger debate if he hadn't. It would have been a much more substantive debate. Instead, I think that's going to be the takeaway. It's not just blood, and it's hilarious to see folks spin this on both sides. I mean, Hannity and Dick Morris this morning are just chugging Kool-Aid. It's like coming, spilling out onto their suits. But just a reality check of the situation is that was ugly and it was unpresidential, and it diminished what was otherwise a really substantive, smart debate. So we got a horse race again, folks. I think it's going to be tight.
Right.
Final word.
Polls. Will they move?
Polls.
Binders.
Interrupt. Interrupt. I'm going with that again. All right. That is Wednesday at News Beast. We will see you tomorrow.